Hello, everyone. Welcome to another one of our full package webinar series video chats today. We're really excited to have our friends from the Closing Exchange here. I think this is going to be a really great tool or service that can be a lot of help to your business, and it's something that if you don't know about it, you definitely should, and you will after this conversation. Like always, for the full package webinars, we are recording this, so if you're watching live, feel free to use the chat. If you're not, we're going to make sure that Alan and Cody's information is included in the description of the video so that you can reach out to them afterwards. And any links that get mentioned, things from their website, all of that, we'll make sure that you have access to as well. If you've got questions afterwards, if you're watching this recording, you can always email them to us at support@bowedigital.com, and we'll make sure that those get over to our friends at the Closing Exchange. My name's Wayne. I'm the owner of Bowe Digital, and I've got Heather Lunsford with me on the call today. We've got lots of questions for Alan and Cody, but to start us off, we want them to kind of introduce themselves, tell you guys a little bit about their role at the Closing Exchange and more about what the Closing Exchange does and what it can do for your business. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Alan.
Great. Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate the opportunity to do this and look forward to the process and what great questions I know are coming. Yeah, so my name is Alan Frelix. I'm the founder and CEO of the Closing Exchange. Along with me is Cody Marshall, who is our manager of business development and client relationship management. Love to tell you a little bit more about the Closing Exchange. So we're going to walk through a quick set of slides just to introduce the company to you, and then we'll turn it over back to Wayne. So Cody, if you'd advance to the next one. All right, so the Closing Exchange was founded back in 2017 via the acquisition of a couple of different signing services companies. We are really focused on technology. We've built our own proprietary technology. We have a number of integrations, which we'll talk through in a second. And the concept basically is that we want to offer our clients the opportunity to provide a full spectrum of signing solutions, working within their native environments and making the process simple and seamless, and ultimately delivering choice to the signer in how they want to close a loan. We have notaries in all 50 states, over 80,000 notaries. All have been vetted. They have performance ratings that are updated on a order by order basis, and all that is done in our CX Choice platform. Additionally, we've built technology that allows us to insert job aids into documents that are printed for mobile signings to help notaries to make good decisions about how their signings are going to be completed and reduce errors. We also have technology that allows us to automatically tag documents for online signings as well. Our CX Intelligence platform is just that. It's built specifically to help clients make a transition into this digital world in a very seamless way and not have to touch documents as much as possible. And all of this is backed by the support of the best trained team of individuals who understand the mortgage experience. All of our leadership team comes from either the lender space or they've actually sat in the shoes of closers and post-closing teams on the title side as well. And so we actually literally have been in your shoes in most cases. On to the next slide, if you will, Cody. One of the things that we built this whole company on is the understanding of what it's like to have to manage third-party oversight and even fourth-party oversight. Having in my past managed for a top 5 lender, I was responsible for all of the title originations companies that worked with us. Title underwriter and title agencies who work with us on the origination side. And so I was focused on making this happen from the lender perspective before I moved to an underwriter and before I managed an agent. So I understand the full, continuity of how this works. And so we built this company to be able to support all of our clients in that regard. So from our platform, we've got multi-factor authentication, the highest level of encryption and security that you can imagine. We've got a dedicated team of people who focus on vendor management, not just letting notaries upload documents, but actually checking those documents and confirming them against the requisite sites that actually would give that approval as well. Our technology includes learning management. And so we've got training that's built specifically for clients, and then training that we continue to update to make sure that our notary panel can actually have a continuous education experience as well. Communication is key for us. We often say that we're a communication company that just happens to be in the signing space. But we're all about communication, two-way communication back and forth between our clients and the notaries that we work with. And then last on this page, you'll see is the TCX guarantee. We guarantee that any order that we work, if there's an issue and it's the responsibility of our team or the notary, we're going to get it fixed on our dime so that you don't have to worry about that as well. And I should say our overall correction rate is 3% or less across the board. And so we don't see it very often, but when it happens, we're there for you to make sure we take care of that for you. At the front end of our process, one of the things I mentioned at the onset is that we wanted to make sure that our clients can work in their native environment. So you don't have to jump from platform to platform. But if you're a ResWare user or a Qualia user or CoreLogic TitlePort user, you stay in your environment and you place the orders, tell us the signing types, and we execute the rest. And you see some of the other relationships we have here, and we have a few others that are actually coming soon. And so we want to, again, make this really easy for our customers. Once we receive the order, it's our job to get a notary that's qualified assigned as quickly as possible. And so our technology delivers auto offers via text messages, email, our mobile app, and even the website, all to the notaries who are qualified for that particular order. And 65% of those orders are actually accepted within 15 minutes, 94% of them within 2 hours. And the rest of those get rolled over to our manual scheduling team that will get those assigned as quickly as possible as well. And we tend to meet SLAs virtually all the time unless there's some exceptional opportunity that makes it required for us to actually go outside of our normal base. One of the things we're most proud of is that, again, if we go back to giving choice, we wanted to be able to give our clients the ability to allow the signers to choose when they want to sign. So we're rolling this out first for Ron's, and this is an interactive scheduling tool. So we have clients that can use this tool, and it will be passed on to the actual schedulers. They get to pick the date and time of the signing based upon the availability of our Ron trained notary panel. It's a pretty cool tool. You can do it via a link or via the QR code. And for those of you who are so daring, if you wanted to actually take a picture of that QR code, it is live and you can test it out. But this is a tool we think is very useful for just creating a more dynamic experience for all of our customer base. And then I mentioned our CX intelligence platform. This is something we're really excited about. When we talk to a lot of our clients in the title space, especially, when it comes to actually rolling out a RON process or an IPIN process, one of the biggest things that they don't want to deal with is tagging documents. And there are a number of platforms that offer the ability to build templates, but that's time consuming and sometimes costly in terms of actually getting those up and running. This tool actually will run documents once you submit them to us via the order. It's going to actually run those documents through our CX intelligence platform, which will actually tag those documents. And then it's backed by the QC of people. So you have machine learning and then people learning on top of that, which we call cyborg learning, for those of you who are kind of sci-fi fans. And that allows us to actually be able to continually develop that tool. And once those documents are tagged, we then can send those smart tag documents to the RON platforms via a smart PDF or via JSON, which can be ingested into that platform so that the tagging is actually there complete. So again, this removes the time that you may have to spend actually tagging documents, and it also prevents a lot of the errors that you would have if you allow the notary to tag documents, which is really very similar to what the experience would be for a mobile signing. Our ultimate objective is to make this, again, seamless and take the errors out of the process as much as we possibly can. This same tool can be used for a number of other things, including scan back review, QC review. So there are other things we can utilize that technology for as well. And then one of the other things we built is our sign and complete automation. So a lot of our clients wanted to know, when does the notary actually finish the signing? So typically you're having to wait for a notary to give you an update. And we still do allow notaries to provide that update via mobile app or via the CX Choice platform. But one of the things we built is an integration with FedEx and UPS, where our system will go out and check to see when documents have been dropped, and then also when they're tracking to be shipped. Once that notification comes in, then the system will issue a sign and complete notification status. which you see in the upper right there. And then a notification is emailed to our clients to tell them that this signing is actually complete too. So again, we're always thinking about ways that we can take the people out of the process and really provide more efficiency and timeliness to the process. And then overall, this is what I would say, what we're about. If you look at the left-hand side, many of our clients and many of you out there are thinking about ways to bring all of this together. So you may have one or two or three different RON platforms that you're using. You may be, trying some of the new iPin technology, and there are a couple different players there. With hybrids, you're going from one platform to another to a signing service to get a notary assigned. And ultimately, if you need docs to be tagged, you're either doing that yourself or you're leveraging a notary to do that. It's just disparate when you think about the way that we're actually doing this today. So the way we built our model is to put CX Choice in the middle of that, and all the other things that we do support that. So our CX Intelligence tool, our digital services team are all built to take that disparate process and make it a seamless process where you can do it all through one-stop shop. And that's really what the closing exchange is about. It's about you decide the workflow. We use our integrated platform, and we ultimately give you your choice in how you want to sign into close. So that tells you a little bit about us. Wayne, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Sure. That was great, and that was a really good overview. And I think, Cody, if you want, maybe while you guys are answering some of these, putting that most previous slide back up that kind of explains you guys being in the center of that, I think might help folks to kind of internalize that. But one of my questions is, I'm glad, Alan, that you brought up how connected your whole ownership and leadership team is to the real estate industry, the process that you get that, because I think something that we hear time and again right now is that, especially in the last 2.5 years, one day we're going to stop saying that, especially, during the pandemic. But in that time, so many new vendors, technology companies, solutions, which I'll put in quotes for some of them, have come into the market, and not all of them know this space. And a lot of people have gotten burned. And so I think that that's really important. But I think there's a phrase you use that I wonder if you can dive a little deeper in, because I think a lot of people are using this phrase, and sometimes people are like, what does that really mean now? Like, it's when we talk about fraud in general, it's so many things. And so when you talk about signing solutions for them, especially for people that are just now stepping into this world, they've had a very traditional business for a long time. What does that really mean for a title agent?
Yeah, so signing solutions, and you're right, Wayne. I mean, it can be used in so many different ways. But if you think about signings, there are so many different ways that you can execute a signing. You can do it in office, where you've got your own staff that are executing the signing, and you may have a notary on staff that's providing the notarial acts as well. You can have a mobile notary who goes out to someone's home or business or Starbucks, wherever the case may be, to do the same process. Now you've got remote online notarization, where it's an audio-visual tool similar to a webinar, where the signing is being done electronically, and then the notarization is being done electronically as well. And then there's IPIN, in-person electronic notarization, where a mobile notary shows up, again, home, business or Starbucks, and they show up with an iPad with your documents on there, and you're going to e-sign those documents either via click or, in some cases, and ultimately the notary is going to execute the notarial acts electronically as well. And then there are all sorts of hybrids in between, where you may have your acknowledgments are e-signed, and then the actual documents that need to be notarized can be done via paper, wet ink, or via RON, or via an IPIN. And each of those processes, which the latter is what I would really recommend, is anything that you can get e-signed up front, you should absolutely do it. It makes for a better experience, reduces error, improves your time to close. And then the actual signing experience is about a 15 to 20-minute experience for the signer. And if you can do that part electronically via RON or IPIN, it makes for a tremendous experience. One of the things that we talk about in terms of signing solutions is you often hear the holy grail is for a completely digital mortgage, and we will get there. But what we need to do is we need to take the steps. Every company is at a different stage of adoption, different stage of understanding. And so what we want to make sure that we do, and I think the industry needs to be doing, is meet everybody where they are. If you've got, a 3-person agency and they want to be able to offer e-closings, well, they may not necessarily want to integrate with some of the different platforms. So we want to be able to give them the tools to be able to do that without having to focus on anything other than what they really need to do: sell and close loans. Everything else in the middle of that is about how do you become more efficient. So all of these different tools are signing solutions. Again, my position has always been that each of them is like an arrow in a quiver, and you need to be able to pull the right arrow out for the right situation. And ultimately, you want to be able to give the choice about which arrow to the signers, because that's who, at the end of the day, we're all trying to make sure that we please, because they in turn will come back and do more business with the people that we work with.
I couldn't agree more, and um, people are going to think that I gave you my outline of questions ahead of time, because that works perfectly into what I was going to say next about, and then I'm going to turn over to Heather to ask a couple of questions. But I hear all the time from people that, they're still trying to figure out RONs in their market. They're trying to figure out where digital closings are going to fit into their mix and all that. And so when we talk to them about how in this type of economy they need to be differentiating more than ever, they'll say, well, I'm not sure if this is the right time, or we're not seeing that business yet. And I say, okay, well, okay, forget all of that. At the end of the day, are you not still having to think about reducing errors and becoming more efficient, like you were talking about? That the efficiency side of this, and having partners like the closing exchange that can help with that side of the business. Because you can say whatever you want about the future of digital closings in this type of economy. To me, the more that you can do to reduce the silly things and to maximize what you're doing. We say efficiencies all the time, but really you're trying to maximize what you're doing in this type of world. And so I think that, I don't know if you want to touch more on that, or just give your own thoughts, because I think that for a lot of them, their staff haven't been in this type of market. If they have, it's not been for almost a decade now. And how not maximizing what you're doing, not being super efficient, having those silly errors, that's going to cost you business. Stuff that we could get away with, again, for the last few years because of the volume. People didn't have to worry about it. It wasn't a differentiator. And now every little headache is a reason for someone to give the little business that they have to someone else. And I don't know if you have thoughts on that, or how your folks are kind of using that side of what you guys do in this type of market.
Yeah, as you were asking the question, Wayne, it took me back to my days, working in the bank space,
I'm sure.
managing vendors, and we were always evaluating vendors, right? So we were always thinking about what's the best solution for us as a bank to be able to provide a broad set of services as efficiently as possible. And so we were looking for those companies that were able to do many things instead of just going to each one for a specific solution. And we were looking for those who were going to be innovative and help us to actually figure out how we were going to grow our business. And so, my response to your question really is, in this contracted market, there's no better time than now for companies to be thinking about how you can innovate and how you can become more efficient, and more importantly, how you can do those things for your customers, because those are going to be the companies that stick around. There's going to be a shakeout in this type of a market where, at one point, for example, we had 13 different vendors. When the market contracted, we realized we didn't need that many. And so we went to pick the ones that were actually going to do those things that I mentioned: innovation, efficiency, scalability when we need it to scale again in the future. So, my response to that is, now is the absolute right time for you to actually get well versed in what's going on, because this is happening. This is not a train that we're wondering if anymore. This is a train that is happening. And I'm old enough to remember when cost to originate was 2-3x less than what it is today, and the market has to get back there, to that place. Maybe not totally back there, because compliance and risk management has increased so severely that I don't think we can ever get back to those numbers. But you have to be thinking about ways that you can make your customers better. How can you give your customers choice and solutions, and and do it in a very efficient way, and then also give them the confidence that you can scale when the market does return.
I agree, and I think that we agree too that the future is the digital closing space. I've said for years that the hardest thing for title agents is that their customer base, they've got some that want a fully digital remote experience, and then others that still want the very traditional process. And for each of them, it's a 5-star experience, but for the other one, it's a 0-star. And I'm definitely more on the digital side. If I have to go into your office or handle a bunch of paper, you get 1 star for me. It's not happening. So to talk a little bit about where this piece is headed with e-closings and that sort of thing, I know Heather has a couple of questions for you guys.
Yeah, that kind of feeds in perfectly for my questions. There's a lot of press about e-closings today. What trends do you see in the e-closings today, and how do you see the future of e-closings?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this technology has been around for a long time. I mean, I remember back when I was at Countrywide, where there was a lot of effort around, e-closings way back then. And, the technology was there back then, right? So it's not that the technology hasn't been around, it's that adoption hasn't occurred. Technology has gotten better. It's made it easier, for sure, but technology has always been around. What's been interesting for me is if you went back 2-3 years ago, and the conversation around moving to a digital mortgage was really kind of this ethereal pie in the sky kind of conversation, where we're going to make this quantum shift from paper to electronic overnight. And then the next year it was, okay, we're going to get there, but we need to go hybrid first to get there. This last year, it's been more interesting because the conversations have been much more detailed with an understanding of what it takes to do that. And I really think the pandemic really forced people to at least become aware and gain some sort of knowledge about it. And so that's been great. That's been really helpful. Additionally, you have legislation. So, you've got the Secure Notarization Act that's been approved by the House and it's pending in the Senate. And given all the political things that have been going on lately, I think we would all like to see that to continue to move forward, because once it's approved federally, then that's going to expand the opportunity as well. So I think that's a tailwind in the favor of this as well. I'd say another tailwind is the understanding of underwriters, and the fact that most, if not all, the major underwriters at this point have a position and or technology that they support or have approved for this. And then you've got the GSEs that are on board as well. So there's a lot of tailwind behind it now that hasn't been there in the past. And then I'd say that probably the biggest thing is that consumers, we all went through a pandemic and Zoom meetings and things like that. So we're comfortable with being online. We're comfortable with transacting online in so many different ways. Online banking is another thing that will be a tailwind. So all the tailwinds are right in place, and it's really ripe for change. But I think the biggest thing that gives me excitement about being able to make this shift is the fact that we're going through this contracted market and everybody is now trying to figure out how to do things better, faster, cheaper, with higher quality. It's now. Now is the right time to be doing those things. So I feel like those things are great tailwinds. I mean, there's still some headwinds that we face. I mean, there's still complexity down to the county level of acceptance and things like that. But we're working through that. You got the MISMA eligibility engine that's being developed. Many of the RON platforms have their own eligibility engines as well. And so I think we're working through those things that will be headwinds, though the tailwinds far outweigh, the winds that are blowing against us.
Perfect. You kind of answered my second question. So I'm going to kind of tweak how I was going to ask that. So how does marketing play into success with e-closings, and how do you talk about your ability to handle them?
You said marketing? I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
Yes. How does marketing play into success with e-closings?
So I would probably recharacterize it from marketing, because I think what's most important is education. And so, one of the things that you'll see that we do often is we're putting out pieces that we hope to educate people about, the process. What is it? Even the training that we do with our notaries on, for that RON panel that we put together. We've got 300 RON trained notaries that have gone through a 3-part training. And the first part of that training is all just education about what is digital closing, what is an e-closing, what are the different options. That's the first thing I think you start with, is just be a resource. Give people information, your team as well as your customers and the people that you work with. Be a resource for information. The second piece is, when you have great use cases, I think it's great to be able to share those so that it doesn't feel like it's ethereal. I think the more you get comfortable with the fact that these things are going on, it gives you comfort to be able to enter into that pool, to put that toe into the proverbial pool, if you will. I know Cody has worked with some of our clients who have had these kind of urgent needs, and we've had some use cases there that we like to share with people, right? I mean, you've got situations that we pulled a rabbit out of the hat for people that you couldn't pull out of the hat if you're sticking with the paper world. So I think that's the first thing, is education, sharing use cases, and then conversation will be the last piece of what I said. Doing things like this where we're having dialogue, and I would encourage everybody who's listening, live or via videotape. Well, that just really showed my age. I said videotape. I think for each of you, find somebody to talk to, somebody who is at the same pace as you, but also somebody who's further along, and have conversation. And then from a marketing perspective, I think the thing that I would focus on is being able to articulate very clearly what you can do for your client base and how you're going to enable them to also make this journey along this adoption path towards digital closings.
I think that's really important because the differentiation, number one, but being able to articulate what you can do and how, because I think, which kind of goes into one of my last questions for you guys about exactly what's on the screen right here, for you guys being able to be that conduit. I think, 5-ish years ago, when people were having more serious conversations about where this was headed, there was this idea that, maybe everybody would be using like one RON provider. And that's just not the case. I think some of the RON providers thought that was what was going to happen, to be very brutally honest, but that's not the case. It's going to be a lot of times the lenders are choosing that business and that sort of thing. And so what are you seeing from some of your other customers in terms of success and being able for your customers to say, hey, we've got this conduit where we can do all of these different things. We can work with these different providers. We can make life more efficient to maximize the lender experience. Are you seeing that from some of your customers? Are you building them, into that direction? Is that a benefit? Am I off base there?
No, what's interesting, Wayne, is for us, we have different types of clients, and so it serves their needs differently. So, again, if you got the kind of small agent, and their lenders are definitely dictating where they go in a lot of cases, but also some of their lenders just say, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing either, but I'd like to try to do a RON, so can you help me? So I think they need to be able to do both, right? You need to be able to route orders through the platform of choice by a lender, but also if that lender says, I need your help, you need to be able to give them a best execution model that says, I can deliver this for you and you don't need to worry about it. So I think that's true for kind of the super regional agents as well, where you've got very strong lenders, often national lenders now, who are going to be more, if not dictating, they're going to be strongly advising you on the platforms that they want you to use. And so you now have to make a decision. Do I go directly to that platform? Do I build an integration with that platform plus the other one that the lender wants me to use, or this other lender wants me to use? Or do I go through a single shop that's already integrated with those platforms, or can actually build an integration with those platforms? Where do you want to apply your resources? Where do you want to apply your dollars and your people power? So I think it's a long-winded answer to your question, Wayne, but I think the answer has to be, you have to be able to do all of those things. Whether you're a small shop or a large shop, your job is basically to be nimble and to be able to provide opportunities to your clients so that they feel confident that you can execute on these things in any way, shape, or form. You know, I think the last I heard, there are over 30 different RON platforms out there in the marketplace. And so that's a lot of companies that you have to figure out how you're going to work with. And, you know, who's to say that that lender doesn't change too? They may start you with one and then say down the road, you know what, we're not using those guys anymore. We want you to use them. How are you going to manage that shift? You know, so, you know, again, stepping out of my shoes in the closing exchange, if I were running the title company again, that's the way I'd be thinking about this is, how do I make this like, you know, the old switchboards where I can just, you know, pull the plug and plug it into something else. Yep. And it's really kind of seamless to my team and ultimately seamless to my client.
I like that idea. And there are probably plenty of people out there that have no idea what you're talking about, but some of us are old enough to.
Yeah, I'm really dating myself on this whole
thing. Yeah. Go watch Mad Men, people, if you've never seen it. That'll give you a good picture of the operators there.
Or the Flintstones. You might see me in an episode of the Flintstones, maybe.
My last question before we get over into Heather's lightning round for you guys, where we ask some of the more lighthearted stuff, is if you were, you know, everybody wants to know, like, bottom line, what's in it for me, right? So our example whenever we do these marketing exercises is, what's your escalator speech for this? If we were passing a title agent on an escalator and they were like, you can get my business if you can sell me right now, why use the closing exchange?
One-stop shop, delivering choice in how you want to close a loan, working in your native environment. You send the order, we do the rest.
Perfect. Best escalator answer I've gotten in a long time. So now we've got, and I keep saying lightning round. Heather, you can brand it for your section and remind me what it's called here. But we've got some more fun, lighthearted questions. This has been a fun piece that people have liked in these, just to kind of ask questions like, is a hot dog a sandwich? Those kinds of things that one or both of you are more than willing to answer. And then I've got one last thing at the end here for us.
Sounds good.
Well, I have a different rule. It's not one or both of you. You both have to answer. So would you choose cheeseburger or hot dog?
Cody, you go first.
Cheeseburger. I say that, but I had 2 hot dogs for lunch today. But I would choose a cheeseburger. It just takes more time to make, I guess.
Can the answer be none? I'm a vegetarian.
It can be. Well, this is a perfect question for you.
I would go with the veggie cheeseburger.
Perfect. Well, Alan, is it okay for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers then?
I like that one. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cody, what do you think?
I'm going to also say yes.
Would you rather climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
Cody, you can go first on that one.
I'd definitely rather jump from a plane. I've never climbed a mountain, but I've went up a lot of hills, and that's not very fun. I'm usually out of breath when that's over. It's not that exciting, so I'd rather jump out of a plane.
Well, here's the thing. I'm climbing the mountain because if I get tired, I can always walk back. There's no turning back when you're jumping out that plane. So I'm climbing.
Very true. You're committed. Would you rather have molded bread or molded cheese?
Molded cheese. Molded cheese. There's cheeses out there that have mold on them, right?
Very
so
true.
I think I'd go with that rather than some old bread there.
Yeah, old bread is disgusting. I'm going with the cheese too.
Would you rather be friends with Kim Kardashian or Britney Spears?
Woo.
That's
Britney
a dangerous
Spears.
question. We're both married.
Yeah, it's true. Well, that's what I was gonna go to is Britney Spears, because my wife is actually, was when she was younger, a fan of Britney. You know, we grew up in the 90s, so she was singing all the Britney songs. Never been a fan of Kim Kardashian, so I'd be friends with Britney to introduce my wife.
I love how you're playing it safe, Cody.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Britney too, because people that associate with Kim Kardashian don't wind up ending up well. So
Very
I've
true.
got to think about my future.
True.
Do you like the smell of gasoline?
I do. I am a gearhead. I like working on cars, and the smell of gasoline is good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm impartial to it. As long as it's not on me, I'm good.
Yeah. We both, Wayne and I, feel the same. We love the smell of gasoline. Is it okay to double dip at a party?
If you're
Absolutely.
the host.
I say absolutely not.
So, Alan, don't go to Cody's parties.
Yeah.
What are you currently binge watching?
So
Cody,
my wife and I, we were watching Blacklist. We were really binge watching it hard. And then January of 2021, we had our first child, and then we had another one just 6 weeks ago. So we haven't watched much TV, but we try to sneak an episode in like once a month. But that's what we're watching is the Blacklist.
Very nice. It's a good TV series.
I have a very
James
pathetic
awesome.
answer to your question.
And what is it?
I have 3 kids. I don't get to watch TV.
I was really expecting some Yellowstone fans out there.
I'm actually looking forward to the new season of Manifest, though.
Oh, it's out.
I know, but
Okay.
I don't get to watch. Every
It's
tablet,
true.
every
That's
TV
true.
is always taken.
That's true. Cody, I chose this one for you. Country music or rock music?
If I'm listening to it, country music. If I'm playing songs, I like to play rock music. I get a good response from the crowd, and if I'm out there playing, I usually choose rock music.
Very nice.
And for
What
those
about
of you
you,
who don't know, Cody is a musician who actually did the national anthem at an Alta conference a few years back.
Yep.
Yeah, Los Angeles. I get to say I sang in LA, which is
Alan?
And you were close to the Staples Center, so you might as well claim it.
I was right across the street.
Yeah, you can almost reach out and touch it.
Same parking lot. I think they shared sidewalks, not even across the street.
Yep. Yeah, I actually like both. I'm kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to music, so I listen to it all.
Same. I'm the same with you on that one. Last one. What song would you choose to sing for karaoke?
Alan.
Cody, that's easy for you, Cody, so I'll let you go first.
I'd probably sing Lips of an Angel by Hinder, just really rocking that one out.
And again,
That's awesome.
stating my age, I'm not singing. I'm doing Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang.
Yes.
Perfect.
There you go.
That's awesome. I appreciate you guys answering those questions and having fun with me on that. That's all I have.
Yes. So people have loved this sort of silly stuff at the end of these for things that they didn't know about people or things that they feel very differently about. Like we've gotten emails from people that are like, we cannot believe you and Heather like the smell of gasoline. That's been the biggest thing to come out of this series, I think. But if folks are interested in getting in touch with you guys, we're obviously going to include it in the links to this, but website, email, what do you guys prefer?
Cody, you can advance the slide there. There you go.
There we go.
Perfect. You guys
So
can take
email and
screenshots of this. Go ahead, Cody.
I was going to say email and phone numbers are there. We also have sales at theclosingexchange.com that goes to our entire business development team. This is Alan and I's direct contact here.
I like Robin in the chat there.
Yeah.
Leave it to Robin.
I see a future video in the works for you, Alan.
We'll do some. Robin's helped us with some geofencing. We'll do some geofencing surrounding that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, if you guys have like a holiday party coming up or whatever, make sure you have karaoke there, and we want videos of both of you. We can put it out on social media so we can get some voting happening.
I love it. Well, I hope everybody got lots to think about in terms of the closing exchange, how they can benefit your business. We can't encourage you to think about this solution enough. Like I said before, whether you're into the digital closings, you're thinking about how to differentiate yourself, you're looking for ways to reduce errors and be more efficient, this has kind of got all of it for you. So I would strongly encourage you to reach out to Alan or Cody to think more about what this might mean for your business. If the time's not right now, how do you think about how to plan for using them in the future? So it's worth a conversation, and I know both of them are very open to that. So Alan and Cody, thank you so much for taking time with us today for our full package webinar series. We really appreciate you guys, and we'll put all this information in the recording, and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
It's
guys.
fun.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Heather. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Bye, guys.